Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and a man rapidly running out of storage space. It's too late. Random review is about to begin.
Before we begin, thank you very much to the Ghost of Double Clutch PA's review for pitching in over on Ko-fi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the direct support. That video's way overdue. I am aware of this. The toy is still here somewhere. It'll have its day. As soon as I get the chance to be able to sit down and write a script again, it'll have its day. But thank you very much for continuing the shout out streak and for the generosity and the support. Always appreciated.
Now, let's get on with a review, and because I still really like this toy line, we're going to be talking about more Wild King, including the brand new Ignite Leo, which I just got in the mail, and I wanted to do this one in particular. Now, I did get the Wave Mate, but we'll be doing him at a different date. For now, I wanted to focus on this one because it's doing a little bit of new stuff, and I think on its own does quite a bit that is worth paying attention to and does give you some really fun options. So, we will take a look at Ignite Leo in all of his lion goodness. So, bright red and yellow lion going on here. There's always something in my head that said that if we ever got, the ever mythical Rodimus Primal as a toy, it would end up being some kind of yellow and red lion like this, very flame-esque. I'm kind of getting vibes of what I always imagined, right down to a blade tail that can be a little bit reminiscent of his spoiler. It's a nice mode. It's a nice beast mode for this toy line because it is showing off just how versatile all the hinges and swivels these legs actually create. So keep in mind, the way Wild King works is it's the same base body for literally everything. But everything below knee and elbow is remolded to match the beast mode, and then everything else is additional parts. Meaning that we have this lion folded up in this way with the exact same joints as, say, the giraffe, or, the elephant, or the T-Rex. All of them kind of have the exact same things going on. It's just a matter of how they're utilized. And that makes for a budget line that is also very clever and easily approachable. So, I like the overall look. Considering this body is supposed to form into a ton of different animal cores, it's doing a pretty good job. Good shades of color here. I like the gunmetal that they've got as the tertiary color going through here. If we take a look at the lion head, it's not a bad sculpting job for a smaller figure. It doesn't have the more dopey expression, though it is a little bit more of like a natural lion shape with the swoop to the front of the nose and the larger jaw. This kind of works in that it is both mechanical and a little bit more natural than some lion sculpts that we have gotten in the past, especially the particular lion that I'm thinking of right now. I like the little bits of blue in there to dot the eyes as well. Makes them stand out against the red. Really nice. It's a good choice for me. The striping across the nose is a little odd. I'm not gonna lie. That's giving me like tennis shoelace vibe for some reason. So maybe that's a little bit off, but everything else seems pretty nice. So we look at the legs themselves. The new sculpt parts look pretty good. He's got red nails because he's going out on the town soon. He wants to look his best. So, yeah, he's out on the prowl, so to speak. But looking good. I like the sculpting to them. You have 5mm ports built in, so you have those at your advantage. Same back here. Again, same with the exact same thing. The red claws and then 5mm ports, which are not accessible right now, but can be at another point. They're also lined up here along the side as well if you want a little bit more accessory play. And you got plenty at the top as well. If I remove this piece, which is going to reveal the two at the top. So, we'll put the element energy back. Beyond that, little play value. You kind of have like swivels here that can kind of adjust the legs. That is a double-sided elbow, but you can't really get a whole lot out of it for this mode. Maybe a little bit of a stepping pose. The tail does go up and down, so you have that as well. You can furl the lion mane. Again, I'm not sure exactly what you get out of that, but it's there if you need it. Okay, so very simple in the lion mode. Nothing surprising if you're familiar with this line, but let's go ahead and transform him, which this does go, let's be honest, roughly the same way as a lot of these. Let's see if I can just keep from having to remove the energy element here. The elemental energy. Go ahead and remove the tail, and this is just a matter of just unfolding and stretching out the legs like so. There we go. Click those lower legs in, rotate that down. You're going to rotate the torso 360 degrees, well, 180 degrees, sorry. I know my measurements. Rotate that around, rotate the lower legs so the silver fists point forward. We do have to remove this after all because I have it on the wrong side. The good guys, the Beast Tribe, always have theirs pointed to the left shoulder. Dino Tribe has theirs pointed to the right shoulder. Open up the back on a hinge, hinge out the head, close the whole thing up. And that's pretty much your transformation. And then everything else is kind of optional, really. So on this, we're going to hinge this so that these double pegs turn into a single peg. And we're going to mount it onto the right arm because that's the intended use for it. And then we are going to take the tail section, straighten it out completely, and then mount it into his hand like so, so he has his weapon. And that gives us Ignite Leo in the robot mode. Yeah, simple transformation on these. I have to keep stressing. This is a kids-oriented budget line in Japan. It just happens to be doing way, way cooler things than the budget line we're getting here in the US for Cyber World. So it is what it is. It's going to be very simplistic, but it's the play pattern and the play ability of these toys that we are most interested in. And Ignite Leo does give us a few things for that. First off, we'll take a look at the head sculpt, which doesn't quite look like Transformer-esque. Like, I'm almost getting Gundam vibes out of like the crest and the mouth plate going on here. It's a very different head for Transformers. Let me get his parts moved out of the way so we can actually see it. It's a fairly unique head sculpt. I like it. It's different. You know, it makes him stand out a little bit. I like it. I like it a lot. Paint-wise, you got some gold in there for the crest. The blue is coming through. I could probably do without that blue in the center. I think that's giving him like a triple eye look unintentionally. Like, that should have either been higher up or should have been a different color, one or the other. Beyond that, though, no issue with the head sculpt. It looks pretty good to me. Also, yellow collar painted on, which is not really all that well seen once you have the elemental energy in place. Beyond that, you are going to see some of the more typical paint job that you see across these toys. You can see the silver down across the shoulders and the biceps, silver for the hands as well, and in the inner thighs, just to highlight some of the robot nature of this toy. That's pretty much what you got for the paint. You know, so it's not a bad amount, but it's letting a lot of the plastic do the talking here. So with this mode, if we want to take a look at articulation, you're going to get nothing in the head. The arms will swivel inside the torso and then swivel forward. So it's not true universal motion, but you know, it does give you a decent range. The bicep rotation just above the elbow joint, because that is a universal joint. 90-degree bend at the elbow. You have a 360-degree waist rotation. Ball joints in the hips for full rotation there. Nothing getting in the way. You've got a full knee that does go well beyond 90 degrees. Nothing in the ankle, you do have a swivel at the thigh, 360 degrees. So, I compare these to Cyberworld only because Hasbro and Takara both had to come up with a line at the last minute to replace the canceled Earthspark. And I think Takara just nailed it with a better line. These are far better articulated and better painted than what we are getting in the US. Granted, importing them sucks, but they're not really meant for import in their own existence, as they are intended to be released. These are pretty good for what you get. You know, these actually are pretty efficient. Now, I did mention that these guys do tend to share a lot of parts, so let me bring in Light Long just to kind of demonstrate that a little bit. You can see the upper thighs on these two are the same. You can see that the shoulders are the same, just colored differently. The silver definitely tells you, like, yeah, these have the same parts. Below the knee and below the elbow, completely different stuff. Though there is the upcoming figure, which is Frost Saber, which is going to share a lot more parts, as well as the transformation scheme with Ignite Leo here. So you have to keep that in mind too. Now for Ignite Leo, on his own, you do have plenty of options here, because you do have all these 5mm ports. You got another one behind him. So if you want to, you can start playing around with what this toy is capable of. Like, if you want to go full Lio Convoy and kind of drop that butt and the tail onto a left shoulder, you can do that. That kind of works. If you want to take off the elemental energy and start doing goofy things like plugging the lion into his chest, you can. It's going to completely obscure his face. But this is where you start getting into like the weird stuff that this line is capable of. So if you really want to try things out, you can. Here, we'll attach this to the back, and we'll just have like the lion zooming through him. Goofy stuff. Have fun with it. It's a toy, for crying out loud. You don't have to play with it exactly as factory intended. But speaking of which, we do have one more thing to show off. So let's go ahead and fold everything like this away. We're going to go ahead and close that up again. We are going into the limb mode. So the limb mode is the same whether you're making him the arm or the leg. So we're only going to demonstrate the arm today. And it's mostly just to get a demonstration of how this works. As a leg, it's mostly just, where it's just a block of plastic, really. But the arm is a little bit more interesting. So we're going to go ahead and fold this up. Make sure the heels tab into these little tabs that are on his back, and that's going to lock that into the correct position. The default to this is to leave the legs sticking out like that. I don't like that. You can drape them across the shoulder of the Energy Master you combine it with, which in our case is going to be Optimus Prime, and I'm just going to connect it right here, and then we will reframe. All right, finishing this off, I'm going to go ahead and connect the elemental energy there. He's going to continue to use the sword in the hand, though it is a little small now. And then that lion head is going to decorate the shoulder. And there you go. There he is in his combiner mode. I have chosen Captain Volca for the left arm because I figured people would probably want to see how the two fire elemental characters work together. And they do use the same shade of red plastic. Maybe like one shade off, but it's not noticeable unless you really stare at it. The rest of it does keep from meshing completely, but if you want the two red guys combined at the same time, yeah, they don't look terribly bad. Though Ignite Leo's red plastic and his yellow actually matches the red and yellow on Optimus Prime really, really nicely. I would say Ignite Leo's probably the one to go to if you want to do like a crazy, like every limb is the same robot type combination, because you're just going to make this like really bestial looking Optimus Prime that way. Like all the others, they have the same articulation. It doesn't take away Optimus's elbow or a bicep rotation. And then you do have the thighs that can recreate a little bit of a bend, though it's closer to the wrist now. And the waist joint becomes a wrist rotation too. So you do have a little bit of articulation in there, but nothing like an elbow or anything to get anything meaningful. My only issue here is like when the combined Optimus Prime reuses the weapons of the smaller energy beasts, they never look right. They're always very dinky. They're always very small. That just comes with the territory, but you get the idea. And this again does present options, does present weird things we can do. Let's go ahead and take these things off. And yeah, that double peg, that works on Prime's chest too. So, if you want to go full Brave, you can do that with Prime, and it doesn't cover his face nearly as bad as it covers Ignite Leo's. So you can do that too. Again, this is going to invite so much like weird play pattern. It's going to invite so many like little bits of inspiration. Like, how do you want this to look? Make it up. Do whatever you want. They're your toys, and these have ludicrous amounts of 5mm ports and pegs, especially for this reason. So you can just make it up however you want and just have fun with your toys. And that's why I like this line so much and why I'm trying to get so much of it. But that is going to do it. That is Ignite Leo. I think a worthy addition to a Wild King toy line. The Beast Mode for now is unique, and the parts do present some, let's say, nostalgic options if you are a Brave fan. But for the most part, yeah, it's a pretty solid standard release. It does give you some good options for your combinations. And yeah, I continue to love this line. Like I said, Spirituan, the Spinosaur that he shipped with, will be coming up soon on the channel. But for now, thank you everyone for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.